And you'd think that between Valentine's Day opening, President's Day Monday, this long 6-day holiday extended weekend, that might have been able to do something for Madam Web. Uh, Unfortunately, Chris, that is not the case.
Oh
Madam
no.
Web, as bad as we thought it was going to be, as big of a box office bomb as we thought it would be, holy shit, it has gone worse than anyone could have possibly imagined. 13% from the critics. Right now, 55% verified audience and 43% all audience. Maybe the biggest indicator is that there's only 500 verified ratings, which means nobody is going to see this movie, which is pretty easy to tell when we look at the box office. Madam Web, a 6-day holiday frame, sitting at $26 million. It's normal, like opening weekend was like a $14 or $15 million 3-day opening weekend. This is abysmal on levels that we couldn't have even predicted before this. But if you've seen the movie, you can probably understand why this is happening.
Wow, Bob Marley, One Love made 51 million.
Yes. Yes.
Crazy. And Alan said, I didn't see the movie because I hated the trailer. And the trailer played like since last summer. I was so, please open so I never have to see this trailer. He said, Alan said he couldn't understand the movie and wish it had subtitles.
Because of the Jamaican accent, man.
The accents are so thick. He's like, what did this person just say? But Madam Web doing that bad. I will say that it's so bad at certain point. It's just so dumb. You're like, I was laughing during a lot of parts of the movie, especially at the very end. No spoilers, but the end reveal is so cringe. The whole audience burst out laughing. When you're inappropriately laughing, I think that just tells you. But kudos to Dakota Johnson for taking it. So her circuit interviews are hilarious. Like she was great. She doesn't give an F. She doesn't care.
It's kind of tough to tell whether that's like just her or whether it's really that she knew this was just going to be a fucking nightmare. So she decided to go out like that.
Right.
It's funny though that you do have some people in the media defending like, oh, well, she doesn't actually think it's bad. She doesn't actually say this. She didn't actually say that. It's funny that the reason that they blamed the Marvels for failing was because, well, we didn't have the usual thing out there. It didn't get promoted this way or that way or whatever, right? You didn't have the cast members out there promoting it. Now they're blaming the failure of Madam Web on the fact that Dakota Johnson was able to go out there and talk about it. And people are just spinning her out of context. It's a joke. I did think a lot of the shit she said was funny. But to me, I think there's a lot of people that are actually upset about this movie legitimately. She fired her agent a week after the trailer dropped. Both her and Sydney Sweeney tagged Marvel Studios when they announced that they were going to be part of this movie because I don't think they understood what it actually was. I've heard things that other people that have been involved with this movie are very upset about how it's being received and are ready to like fucking go off on social media. This is legitimately a movie that might not make $100 million worldwide at the box office. Like that's an actual possibility at this point.
I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point. But Dakota Johnson, her whole attitude was, F it, it sucks, whatever. I mean, look, I've done junkets before, like back when I worked at G4. You can tell when the cast knows it's a good movie as opposed to when it's a bad movie. Conversely, if you've actually seen there's a ton of interviews with the cast of Dune Part 2. They're having a great time. They know the movie's good. They know the audiences are going to love it. They know that like the actual critics that are seeing it like it. That you can see them having fun in interviews. They're like Josh Brolin's weird poem to Timothée Chalamet, like the popcorn bucket, the Dune popcorn bucket thing, which was, the subject of an SNL sketch. I don't watch SNL, but I did watch the clip. So it's like, it's weird. So you're seeing this sort of sad junket of Madam Web, contrasted against, and you can just look up on YouTube. There's a ton of, and what's weird is I'm sitting here, why didn't freaking Film Threat get to interview the cast of Dune Part 2? Like the smallest whatever YouTube channel I've like never heard of is just like, so you've got 26 views. You interviewed Denis Villeneuve. What is going on? So I don't know how these things happen, but whatever.
It is kind of crazy. Sometimes you'll see like some random woman that has 800 subscribers is interviewing Will Smith or something.
Right, right.
and it has no interaction and no views. I guess you just get your name on a list or something. I don't know. Now, I can't imagine a lot of those people would want to appear on, I don't know, Geeks and Gamers for an interview anyway. But you're right when it comes to the way it's felt. Now, it doesn't feel like the cast has any problem with each other. They just kind of, I feel like they kind of understand that this movie is a massive pile of shit. And the highlight of the entire thing was the red carpet. That was the highlight with Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Johnson. That's the best thing to come out of this movie, not anything on screen.